Sonic Blockbuster. It's the State Farm Champions Classic from Cameron Indoor Stadium. Eerily quiet, given what we're accustomed to from the din from the Cameron Crazies. As we look at our Sonic Blockbuster matchup, two of the great coaches of all time going head to head. Tom Izzo, the winningest coach in Michigan State history. Mike Krzyzewski, the winningest coach of all time. Between the two of them, 1,788 wins, 12 Final Fours, 6 national titles, and both in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in beautiful Springfield, Massachusetts. Sean McDonough along with Jay Billis. Delighted to have you with us later tonight. Kentucky and Kansas, but this should be fun.
It will be fun. I mean, Michigan State, Tom Izzo's got perhaps the best passing team he's ever had at Michigan State. In the 2 games they've played, they have 60 made field goals. 53 of them are assisted. That is remarkable.
Mike Krzyzewski's team 1-0, a home win here Saturday against Coppin State, a 10-point victory. This is the first road game for the Spartans, 2-0, home wins over Eastern Michigan and Notre Dame. And the tip goes out of bounds. And it'll be Spartan basketball. Brian Dorsey, Pat Driscoll, and James Breeding are the officials. 17th meeting all time. Duke has had the upper hand. They are 13-3 against Michigan State.
Both these teams play relatively small lineups. They don't have traditional big guys in their starting lineups that'll lock down in the low post, but very, very versatile and a number of very good handlers.
There's Rocket Watts, who's taken over as the point guard, and a blocked shot by Jalen Johnson, who had an amazing debut in that victory against Coppin State. 19 points, 19 rebounds. He also blocked 4 shots, and he can score, but not that time.
Well, Michigan State trying to isolate Aaron Henry down in the low post. They did it, but Johnson came over from the weak side to take that away. What a beautiful block by Johnson.
And a steal by Wendell Moore. He powered to the bucket and got fouled by Thomas Kithier. That's the first foul of the game. And how about those numbers for Jalen Johnson in his debut? Did not miss a shot, including 1 for 1 from 3-point range. The one negative, if you want to nitpick, and I know you like to, is he had 7 turnovers, and Mike Krzyzewski was bothered by their 22 turnovers as a team against Juan Dixon's Coppin State team.
Yeah, to have 22 turnovers, that was disappointing, especially when he thought so many of those turnovers were unforced. But that's something that I think Duke can clean up over time. It's an inexperienced team. But for Tom Izzo, he's got a more experienced team, and already they've turned the ball over once, just had it taken right out of their hands. You have to be strong with the ball in this arena, whether fans or not.
Strong drive to the bucket by Aaron Henry, but then he missed at the rim. Duke looking to counter quickly. 3 in the air, and it's an air ball from DJ Stewart, another freshman. He hails from Chicago. He had 24 in his debut against Coppin State.
Well, he can really shoot it. He missed that one, but what a great pass by Johnson. He is at his best in transition.
Rocket Watts will largely fill the role of Cassius Winston, if that's possible. The 4-year starter at point guard for Michigan State has gone on to the NBA. There's a foul as Wendell Moore went to the bucket.
With these turnovers, Duke is able to get out in transition and play ahead of Michigan State's defense. Michigan State can't get back and corral the ball, and Joey Hauser can't foul in that situation. You have to put pressure on the shot, but you're not going to rake down and take the ball away from Wendell Moore. That was a bad foul.
First foul on Hauser. Sat out last year as a transfer from Marquette. And he's off to a good start. He's their leading scorer and rebounder through the 2 wins against Eastern Michigan and Notre Dame, averaging 12.5 points and 12.5 rebounds.
He had 16 rebounds against Notre Dame. He was fantastic. He's another guy that's a very good passer and very skilled at the 4 spot.
Wendell Moore made both free throws. There are the numbers for Hauser Saturday against the Irish. His first career double-double, didn't have one during his 1 season at Marquette. Here's Hauser. And now the junior Henry. And a blocking foul called
Duke has done a good job thus far of trying to force Michigan State a little bit further out on the floor, trying to extend the catch both at the elbow and the wing, make it a little more difficult for the Spartans to get into offense and reverse the ball.
Jalen Johnson, the foul, the first against Duke. Michigan State 22-9 a year ago. They shared the Big Ten regular season title with Wisconsin and Maryland, and they're on the board on a three-pointer by Rocket Watts.
Well, he did a nice job of handling that pressure by DJ Stewart. Stewart knocked the ball away, but Watts was very strong in trying to get around him. Nice pull-up jumper. When he goes straight up and down, he knocks those things down. When he floats on it, he's not near as good of a shooter.
Saw the Duke starting lineup, 3 freshmen, another very highly touted recruiting class.
Michigan State is piling up the fouls here and putting Duke on the free throw line. That was a really good cut by DJ Stewart. But he just got put on the deck.
Aaron Henry the foul. There's one of those 3 starters. Whitney Young High School in Chicago. DJ Stewart, same high school that sent Jahlil Okafor on to Duke.
And Whitney Young's a powerhouse in Chicago. They put out a lot of great players. Stewart's the latest.
Tom Izzo said we tried to get involved in recruiting Stewart, but he committed to Duke so early, there wasn't really ever much of a conversation. They were more active in trying to recruit Jalen Johnson from Milwaukee. Watts, Langford, Henry, with Kithier and Hauser, the starting 5 for Tom Izzo. They've been playing 9 men as a rotation through the first 2 games. Johnson strong to the bucket again, and Thomas Kithier called for his 2nd foul. It's 14 fouls already, as you can see, with an eye toward COVID protocols. Bench is spread out, no fans in attendance. Michigan State tested before they left East Lansing yesterday, and tested again this morning. They tell me that's called a scrim. It's a mural of some kind. They're here in spirit. Of course, Cameron Crazy's not only not in the building tonight for the game, but not on campus like many universities around the country. Duke has gone home and won't come back until January. Watts, Henry, Hauser's wide open, and Long with the 3-point try. But it came back to him, and then he got called for an offensive foul as he ran over Jalen Johnson. So 2 fouls on Kithier and 2 on Hauser, and we haven't even played 3 minutes yet.
Well, a couple of rough fouls on Hauser. That's where you just have to come to a jump stop and play off 2 feet. You get running a little bit too fast, trying to get that offensive rebound. Now he's going to have to sit for a while. And Michigan State's offense, due to Duke's defense, has not helped the Michigan State defense. They've been getting beaten down the floor. They're giving up a lot in transition, which includes a lot of fouls.
Johnson short from beyond the free throw line, out of bounds. Last touch by Michigan State. 20 seconds to shoot for Duke.
And one thing Duke has done a really good job of, they've not only pressured the ball and forced Michigan State into difficulties running their offense, but they've blocked out and limited them to 1 shot.
Good work by Hurt to get down on the floor and get it back for Duke. It looked like a certain turnover on the inbounding play. Instead, it winds up as a bucket for Jeremy Roach, the freshman point guard, with his first points of the night, and Duke off to a 9-3 start.
Boy, and Rocket Watts almost turned the ball over again, trying to give it to Marcus Bingham in a spot where Bingham couldn't do anything with it.
Bingham off the bench early with Malik Hall as well. Bingham's number 30, Hall 25 with the foul difficulties. They're in. Michigan State 1 for 6 from the floor with 3 turnovers and 5 fouls, and now they're 1 out of 7 shooting. Johnson powers to the bucket, and a great start for Duke.
Duke's transition is really hurting Michigan State. And transition's been set up by Duke's defense, which has been excellent. A lot of dribbling for Michigan State, not a lot of passing.
Watts a miss, out of bounds. Last touch by Bingham. And Tom Izzo gets the much-needed media timeout. Good hustle, and it led to a bucket for the Blue Devils, up by 8 early on. We spoke, Jay, with Coach K yesterday. He said you have to bring your own energy if you're the Duke players, and they've done that. A very energetic start.
You know, I'm actually a little surprised that such a young team came out with more fight than Michigan State. That's really been the difference in the first 4 minutes of the game. Is Duke has knocked Michigan State back here with its defense and rebounding, and they've been taking the ball to the basket, and they put Michigan State in foul trouble early. So it's been, Michigan State looking to counterpunch, but it started out early with the very first play of the game, getting the ball into Aaron Henry, and then Jalen Johnson just wiped it away. But whether it's off a missed shot or a turnover, Duke's advanced passing, getting the ball down court quickly, getting easy buckets or fouls. And I can imagine in that timeout that Tom Izzo was wearing his team out about showing a little bit more fight out on the floor and taking the fight to Duke rather than having Duke take the fight to them.
As you saw, Jalen Johnson on the bench for the moment for Duke. Another freshman's come in for them. Mark Williams, the big guy, number 15, and that's Matthew Hurt with the basket to give the Blue Devils a 10-point lead.
Well, he just drove right around Marcus Bingham, got into the lane at a little pull-up jump shot. Matthew Hurt has gotten stronger. He's an excellent shooter, shot 40% from 3 last year, made 42 threes, but if he starts putting the ball on the deck, he's that much harder to guard.
Gabe Brown the miss for Michigan State. And now a foul called on Foster Lawyers. He tried to stand it. Actually did draw the charge. It's an offensive foul.
That drive, left-handed drive into the middle. That's a great drive by Matthew Hurt, but if you're Tom Izzo, you're all over Marcus Bingham about take away middle. You can't just open up and allow a player to get into your paint that easy.
Jeremy Roach, the offensive foul. His first and the team's second.
Now, Sean, one of the issues for Michigan State is the point guard position. They've got to have somebody that's going to step up and run the team, whether it's Rocket Watts, Foster Lawyer, no matter who it is.
Well, Lawyer stands in and draws another charge on consecutive possessions. They're hoping he can do it in tandem with Rocket Watts.
You see Rocket Watts and how he stacks up with Cassius Winston, but Rocket Watts is more of a two-guard that can play the point. Cassius Winston was born a point guard. And running a team is a lot different than just handling the ball, and Rocket Watts is learning how to balance running a team with being an aggressive scorer. He'll get there, but it's not a natural thing as it is with Cassius Winston, or was.
Colin DJ Stewart on the charge was his first.
Boy, have you noticed in this game, if you fall down, you get a charge?
You don't think those were?
I don't think the last one was, no. And I think a couple times we've had some dubious ones.
Wendell Moore bounced it off his foot and turned it over. That led to an easy bucket. Just the second field goal in the first 6 minutes of this game for Michigan State. That one from Aaron Henry, preseason All Big Ten, the junior, who thought about the NBA. As a matter of fact, he talked to 22 different NBA teams and got the vibe that he should come back to Michigan State.
Michigan State, now they're playing a little bit of defense, getting it off the rim. They can get out and run a little bit. I'm not sure that's the shot that Tom Izzo wants for Marcus Bingham. He can make it, but they didn't run any offense and settled for a quick three.
They're 1 for 7 from 3, 2 for 13 overall.
Well, they're having difficulty. It's a team that really moves the ball, but because of Duke's defense, they've had a difficulty making passes and reversing the ball. So they haven't moved the defense.
Matthew Hurt working on Malik Hall. Stewart got a hand on it, couldn't corral an offensive rebound. It was ripped away by Hall. Does a little bit of everything for Tom Izzo. Henry floater, and here come the Spartans. After the dreadful start, still only down by 6 now as Henry has scored 4 points.
Michigan State just playing tougher the last 3-4 possessions. And Aaron Henry, that was a tough move. Instead of settling for a jump shot, he put the ball on the floor and finished through some contact.
Matthew Hurt out of Rochester, Minnesota. No. And Bingham the rebound. Good ball movement by Michigan State, but Gabe Brown couldn't knock it down from the perimeter.
But because of that ball movement, you're talking about a much better shot, and the offense had much more rhythm.
Jordan Goldwire in the game now for Duke. We talked to Tom Izzo. He said he has really been a nuisance for the Spartans the last couple of years. Coach Izzo so impressed by Goldwire's defense in particular. Energy level.
Duke just didn't get into its offense very quickly there. They had a ball screen slip and then another ball screen. Just took them way too long to get into it.
So Brown called for a charge. As Wendell Moore stepped in and took the hit. First foul on Gabe Brown.
Aaron Henry, the junior from Indianapolis. Those are the moves that Tom Izzo wants to see from him. Put it on the deck, get fouled, get to the free throw line.
Well, here's a look at the roster comparison. Mike Krzyzewski making the point that early in the year he felt Michigan State might have a little advantage because of the experience level. Duke, another tremendous recruiting class, 6 freshmen. And they also welcomed their first grad transfer, Patrick Tapé from Columbia University. And that recruiting class ranked 2nd in the country by the good folks at ESPN, Kentucky #1.
Yeah, Paul Biancardi and that great recruiting crew that he's got. But yeah, it's been Duke and Kentucky since 2010. They've been 1 and 2 just about every year, if not every year. And it's remarkable how consistent both those programs have been. And getting McDonald's All-Americans to sign with them to get the #1 and 2 class each year. But this is a really an excellent class that Mike Krzyzewski recruited. I don't know how many sort of one and dones or R.J. Barrett, Zion Williamson types. I don't think they do. Jalen Johnson, though, is a special talent.
Coming up next, the State Farm Champions Classic continues from Indianapolis. #7 Kansas, #20 Kentucky from Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis. Originally this was supposed to be a doubleheader, as it usually is. Last year was in New York City. It was supposed to be played in Chicago, but when that became impossible due to COVID protocols, a lot of maneuvering, they thought it might move to Orlando. Then there was some talk about both games being played in Indianapolis. Finally, Coach Izzo, Coach K got together, decided to play it on a campus. And it's worked out very well for both sides being here at Cameron.
Well, pre-COVID, it was originally in Chicago, I think, wasn't it?
It was.
What a move by Jalen Johnson. He is extraordinary in his ability level, especially to put the ball on the deck.
As he is demonstrating right here.
Mini
magic, as Tom Izzo called him. Roach missed a left-handed layup, and then Goldwire couldn't finish on the follow.
But for Johnson to be able to grab a rebound and just go without having to make an outlet pass, that makes you really dangerous. What a play by Baker.
What a rough start for Michigan State. 3 out of 15 from the floor, 6 fouls and 6 turnovers in just more than 9 minutes now. Duke hasn't shot it much better, 28.6% from the floor. They're 0 for 2 from three-point range.
You know, the difference, Sean, is that Michigan State came ready to play and Duke came ready for a fight. I mean, they fought, and Michigan State to this point has not, at least collectively every play. What a great drive. Little hesitation along the baseline to get past Julius Marble, gets all the way to the rim and uses the rim so it can't be blocked. What a magnificent talent he is. As soon as he starts shooting the ball and improves that perimeter shot, I just don't see how you guard him.
Foster Loyer, the foul that put Michigan State over the limit. It was a 2-shot foul as he committed a shove in the back.
Joey Hauser on the bench with 2 fouls. Don't know when he's going to come back. I don't know that Tom Izzo is one of those guys that once you get 2 fouls, he's going to keep you out for the rest of the half.
After the free throw by Jamin Brakefield, elbow jumper knocked down by Aaron Henry. Half of Duke's points have come from the free throw line. Henry has 6 of the 9 Michigan State points.
Henry's got to be a go-to guy for Michigan State. He's got to be that guy when they need a bucket. They know they can give the ball to him and he can go get one.
They lost As we mentioned, Cassius Winston, the All-American point guard. They also lost Xavier Tillman. Between the two of them, they combined for nearly 32 points per game, so that's a big void to fill. They combined for about 13 rebounds per game as well, and obviously a lot of assist loss when Winston moved on after a brilliant career in East Lansing. Julius Marble just into the game committed a foul, but the front end was missed. Michigan State still hasn't shot a free throw. They keep turning it over, and that is Jermaine Brakefield, freshman out of Jackson, Mississippi. Played high school ball at Huntington Prep in West Virginia. He was the three-time West Virginia Gatorade Player of the Year. He's a sophomore, junior, and senior. He's the first player ever to do that, and the Gatorade Award's been around for 35 years. Julius Marble, sophomore forward in off the bench, fouled on the way up.
Boy, just a horrible pass by Rocket Watts, and Gabe Brown not going after the ball to get the catch. And that pass might as well have been an assist for Duke. You know, Michigan State, Duke's defense has been excellent, but there's been a combination of Duke's defense is excellent and Michigan State has not been strong with the ball. They've not met the challenge to go against a tough defense.
Joey Baker committed the foul, his first. Marble scores his first point.
This isn't the first time this Spartan group has seen a tough defense. It's surprising to see this sort of start.
They were number 13 in the AP poll in the preseason, but with their 2-0 start, they've moved up, especially with other top programs suffering early losses, including Kentucky, which we'll see later on. They went down against Richmond. Villanova's already suffered defeat, as has Kansas. Some room to move up, and the Spartans have.
What a rebound by Aaron Henry.
Off the miss by Jalen Johnson. Henry bumped as he started to drive. That's on Johnson. His second, and the fifth against the Blue Devils.
Aaron Henry going up, didn't get a body on anyone, but another guy who can rip and go, and his aggressiveness is keeping Michigan State in this. The last couple of possessions, he's taken the ball, getting into the paint. Well, good job by Joey Baker to break up that dribble handoff. He just blew that up.
Rocket Watts back on the floor now. Malik Hall missed a three, kept alive by Gabe Brown. Henry missed, and it was retained by the Spartans again.
Great tap out. You know, Michigan State has to stop leaving the floor to pass. These jump passes are getting Michigan State in trouble.
Henry not bashful here in the first half. He's taken 9 shots already.
Well, that was the first weak shot he's taken, but he's not had a lot of help in running offense.
Averaged 10 points per game last year. You talked about the need for people to fill the void of the departure of Winston and Tillman. Certainly they think Henry, who's gotten stronger, his ball handling is better according to Coach Izzo. He'd give more points. They go into the lane, and Marble, a nice move. Sophomore out of Dallas Jesuit, Dallas, Texas, has 4 off the Michigan State bench.
Well, that was a good reversal. They tried to get the ball to Gabe Brown, a little throwback for a 3. And Marble did a really nice job of getting post position inside.
Largest Duke lead was 10.
Duke's been settling for jumpers the last several times down.
Baker missed a 3. There's a dunk and a very hard landing by Malik Hall.
They got a foul on Baker.
He's okay.
Got a foul on Baker there.
That'll get us to immediate timeout. They gave him a little shove in the back. And that's his second foul. Nice to see Hall bounce back up so quickly. Brian Dorsey, Pat Driscoll, James Breeding at the monitor, taking a look at the foul committed by Joey Baker on the last bucket, and they're going to call this a flagrant one.
Yeah, but we call ahead of the crowd, and Joey Baker just got a little hand in his back. Didn't look like much, but enough because of the result to not only be a foul, but be a flagrant.
Well, he did shove a guy who was in air in the back. It's Pat Driscoll speaking to Hall. He landed hard. Bounced right back up. Sophomore from Aurora, Illinois. Tom Izzo calls him our kind of guy, OKG. He can play several positions. And even though they don't have a lot of depth, Jay, at the guard position, only 3 players on their roster who are listed as guards. He's the kind of guy who can defend some guards and allow you to play a little bit bigger.
Well, they've got a number of versatile defenders that can switch out 1 through 4, some of them 1 through 5. So it gives them some lineup flexibility and some defensive flexibility. But really the biggest issue, Sean, I think is going to be the point guard position. And having somebody, Lawyer, Watts, at times Aaron Henry, they've got to have somebody that can run the team. It's one thing to handle a ball and initiate. It's another thing to run the team.
Hall missed both free throws. Henry, the floater, had to do that with the defense nearby, and Hurt rebounded for Duke.
Yeah, being there to take the charge definitely made him think when he was coming down.
That's a travel. Jeremy Roach, airborne. Freshman from Leesburg, Virginia, commits the 5th Duke turnover. Roach, one of the 3 McDonald's All-Americans in this freshman class, along with DJ Stewart and Mark Williams. That's 82 McDonald's All-Americans all time who've come to Duke, more than any other school.
Well, that's a remarkable number. I didn't know it was 82. That's incredible.
North Carolina next with 79. It's 36 straight years that Mike Krzyzewski has signed at least one McDonald's All-American. Travel. Gabe Brown, that is 8 turnovers now, committed by Michigan State. And Tom Izzo said at his media briefing yesterday, I love watching those because he's so honest, that perhaps he hasn't done a good enough job talking to his team throughout the years about trying to reduce the turnovers. But they like to play fast. They defend with great intensity, and when you do that, you're going to foul and turn it over from time to time. Jamin Brakefield, that's a 3.
Just a simple catch and shoot. Joey Hauser just not up there on him to take away that shot. And that's what Brakefield does. He's a shooter first. You have to make him put it on the deck.
Played only 4 minutes against Coppin State, had 1 point. And he's had his first field goal, the first 2 of his Duke career here tonight. Foul on the rebounding action on Joshua Langford, who shoved Matthew Hurt. First foul on Langford. A return to action at the start of this season. After 696 days, missed basically a season and a half due to injury, a foot injury.
Sean, in that last replay, you could see when Rocket Watts was taking the ball to the basket, the fact that Duke is coming over from the help side and looking to take a charge, caused him to try to slip that charge, and then he can't, he's taking his momentum away from the basket. I mean, Michigan State's shot selection has to get better. And at times, if they can stop one dribble short, just pull up for a jump shot, they'd be better off than shooting some of these floaters when they're leaning all over the place.
Duke leads by 8. That's their advantage from the free throw line. They're 10 out of 13 from the stripe. Michigan State just 2 out of 4. Hauser, a corner 3 for Joey Hauser.
That's his first 3 of the season, I believe. He was 0 of 6 coming into this one.
You are correct. 1 out of 2 tonight.
That is way too easy. Great drive by Matthew Hurt, but I mean, he got all the way to the other side of the basket with nobody coming over from the weak side. Just went right around Bingham, driving him every time he gets it.
6 points, 6 rebounds for Hurt. Nice move to the bucket by Rocket Watts, sophomore from Detroit.
It was a beautiful drive, but it's coming off an individual play. It's difficult. It has been very difficult this half for Michigan State to run offense.
Well, they just ripped it away. Double team Jeremy Roach and took it away. And in transition, Watts again. He has 7. And Michigan State is within 3, which is hard to believe. They're still shooting under 35%, 50% from the line, 9 fouls and 8 turnovers. But Duke has started to help them with some misses and turnovers of their own. That was a quick miss by Wendell Moore. It was last touched before going out of bounds by Marcus Bingham.
A couple times, Matthew Hurt, when he's gotten the ball against Marcus Bingham, he just puts it on the deck and drives him. He's got an advantage there, and he's taken advantage of it. But getting all the way to the other side of the rim, that was just way too easy. But the last couple possessions offensively, Rocket Watts, when he's slowed down and has gone straight up and down, he's been much more effective on the offensive end. Yeah.
Hand check foul as Stewart was dribbling. It'll be a 2-shot opportunity the rest of the half now. That's the 10th team foul on the Spartans and the first personal on Rocket Watts.
Yeah, I think the Spartans knew, because they were told by their coaching staff over and over in scouting, that Duke is a driving team, but they still haven't been able to adjust to it. It's been awfully difficult for them to keep Duke out of the lane and guard him without fouling.
Stewart made the first.
This young man is a fantastic shooter and just a multi-dimensional scorer. I was asking somebody about him recently. They made a very good analogy to a player and said he's got a lot of Lou Williams in him. Now, who knows if he'll be that good, but I thought that was a good comparison of a player.
Aaron Henry, the floater. 8 for the junior from Indianapolis. Saw that Matthew Hurt's on the watch list for the Naismith Trophy, as is Henry. There are 50 on the watch list for the best player in the country. Stewart fouled. And he'll be at the line after immediate timeout. Foul on Hall is first. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's, home for the holidays. And by the Queso Burger for just $3.99, only for a limited time at Sonic.
Fighting Reese Davis's.
Yeah, that had a short shelf life, I think, after the Northwestern football team went to Michigan State and lost. No Cameron Crazies here tonight. I tell you what, it's still warm in here. Every time we come here, it's really warm. The building is still warm, even with no fans inside, and the temperature in the 40s outside. We talked about how these two coaches got together, DJ Stewart shooting 2, to talk about how they wanted to handle this game after it couldn't be played in Chicago. And Coach K said, well, Tom Izzo said, yeah, they'd come down here. And, it's just smart, right? Because they're going to return the game to Michigan State. So they'll probably return it when Michigan State has fans, right? If you're going to come down here and play, good idea to play when they don't have the home court advantage as much as they usually do.
Yeah, but with the current situation, it didn't make sense for both teams to travel to a remote location to play the game when you could play a home game, and it seems like the right result.
Malik Hall, the bucket. He has 4. Well, Duke University has done a tremendous job of managing COVID on their campus. Goldwire, the miss, and of course, the two coaches talked about all the protocols being placed. Tom Izzo said, we feel really comfortable with what the people have done here at Duke. He feels really comfortable with Foster Lawyer. nailing that three. So after a sloppy start, Michigan State back from a 10-point deficit. It's tied at 29.
Michigan State getting the ball off the glass, gang rebounding, and then Aaron Henry able to take it up the court all by himself. A great catch by Malik Hall, and he was really going after the ball and got that second rebound, kicked it out to Foster Loyer for the step-in three. That's just really good defense to offense by Michigan State.
Bunch of steps there, apparently not too many for Wendell Moore. He tried again, and now it's controlled by the Spartans with a chance to take their first lead of the game.
Michigan State has been limiting Duke to one shot. That's really the key. Much tougher defense in the last 5 minutes.
Strong move to the goal. Julius Marble has given them some nice minutes off the bench. He has 6.
Really smart of Michigan State to recognize the mismatch. Jordan Goldwire was on Julius Marble. Marble is bigger, stronger. He's sort of an Andre Hudson type player for Michigan State, and just bullied Goldwire down the post.
Spartans lead doesn't last long. Hurt ties it back up. 8 points for Matthew Hurt, who averaged 9.7 last season. A little brush foul up top. Both teams over the limit now.
Just a little screen roll, and Marble's able to roll Goldwire down in the post and went to the right block. Henry was able to get him the ball. Just really well done to get that switch and mismatch.
Jamin Brakefield called for the Duke foul that puts them over the limit. Henry, the free throw shooter. Career 71.5%. Clangs the front end of a 1-and-1. 2 minutes to go in the first half. The first half of our State Farm Champions Classic doubleheader. Kansas and Kentucky coming up next from Indianapolis. Wendell Moore off the mark from 3. Bodies tangle, and it's going to be Hurt called for the foul for Duke. His first, the team's 8th.
He was getting blocked out by Malik Hall. Duke ran a little horn set and got Matthew Hurt wide open in the post, but you just never got him the ball. And then Hall, trying to block him out, wound up getting the foul as Hurt went over the top trying to get into the middle.
Hall always seems to be in the middle of it, and that's been the case tonight.
He's gotten so much stronger from last year. He's clearly been in the weight room and worked, and Tom Izzo even said in addition to the strength, he's gotten a little bit quicker, which, as you pointed out earlier, helps him guard smaller players as well as big guys.
So the lead 2 again for Michigan State. We spent some of the half chronicling the Michigan State difficulties, but now it's Duke shooting under 32% for the half. They've turned it over 6 times.
You see the difference in defense. Michigan State, tough defensively. They play a little more containment-oriented defense, and boy, do they rebound. Duke's a little more pressure, getting out in passing lanes, trying to force you further out on the floor. Beautiful move by Aaron Henry. Just took it right down the floor, finished with that right hand, taking advantage of a smaller defender.
10 points for Henry. Michigan State a 4-point lead, its largest. DJ Stewart blocked. Swatted by Henry. And I believe they're going to give a timeout to Michigan State as Loyer was on the ground and had the ball.
What a great job by Foster Loyer at defending in the post. He was defending Wendell Moore, and he got bullied in the post against Notre Dame. And here the pass ahead, the advance pass to Aaron Henry, and Henry just took Stewart right to the bucket and extended with that right hand. He's a lefty. But Sean, against Notre Dame, the Irish took Foster Loyer down in the post, got him out of the game after a few possessions because he didn't guard particularly well. He is guarding tough against Wendell Moore down there in the post.
Not blessed with great size. They list him at 6 feet 170, one of their 3-team captains, as chosen by the teammates. Tomorrow on ESPN and the app, the 26th annual Jimmy V Classic, highlighted by 4 top 15 teams. Number 11, West Virginia. Number 1, Gonzaga. So impressive to start the year. Then number 5, Illinois. Part of a stacked Big Ten this year. Number 2, Baylor. Both games from Bankers Life Fieldhouse in Indianapolis.
I haven't seen anybody I think's as good as Gonzaga. I mean, it's obviously really early, but man, with Jalen Suggs, that freshman, they've never had a freshman like that. He's amazing.
It's a 13-2 run now for MSU as Marble knocks home another. He has 8 off the bench.
What a big factor Julius Marble's been in this game. You know, Michigan State at the end of the first half against Notre Dame had a 26-0 run.
Marble had scored 5 points combined in their first 2 games, 2 against Eastern Michigan and 3 against the Fighting Irish. Final seconds of the half. Hurt with Marble there, but not close enough. Time for Sparty, 3 seconds. And Henry off the mark with a long 3. Well, an interesting half. First half controlled by Duke. Second half of the first half belonged to Michigan State. 37-33 is our score at the half. Let's send you back to Champions Classic, a Sonic blockbuster event from Cameron Indoor Stadium where Duke raced off to a 10-point lead. But Michigan State rallied back. The Spartans up by 4 in the first half of our Champions Classic doubleheader tonight. Welcome back to Durham, North Carolina. Sean McDonough along with Jay Billis. Delighted to have you with us. And Tom Izzo got some nice play off the bench from Marble and Hall in that first half.
Yeah, that's where the depth really came in for Michigan State. Malik Hall came in and Julius Marble, they combined for 14 points. Marble had 8. He was 3 of 3 from the field. But early on, Duke was getting to the rim at will. Michigan State was turning the ball over and they were fouling. A lot of easy opportunities, not only from the free throw line, but getting close into the basket. But the second half, Sean, you mentioned it, Julius Marble getting to the rim. Those were 2 of his 8 points, then getting out in transition. The great pass to Malik Hall, the foul. And Malik Hall had some really good minutes. He had 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists in that first half.
Second half of our Sonic blockbuster underway. Thomas Kithier back into the game for Michigan State. He had 2 quick fouls, didn't play much in the first half. It's a 4-point lead for the Spartans. Joey Hauser. Tough shot, and he made it, fading away in the lane.
Well, that shows how skilled Joey Hauser is. They went right down to him in the low post. I thought he was going to take a turnaround jumper, but he just used that left hand, little push shot. That was beautiful.
Jeremy Roach, the freshman, to Jalen Johnson, fellow freshman, way off. And now it's Hauser, Aaron Henry, Joshua Langford. Nice pass, but it seemed to surprise Thomas Kithier. And a bad pass by Hauser. And Rocket Watch retrieved it for Michigan State, guarded by DJ Stewart. Shot clock at 10. And there's a 3. And a 9-point lead now for Michigan State.
Boy, what a great shot by Joshua Langford. I thought he was going to pull the trigger the first time he had the ball instead of trying to find Kithier. But how great is it to see Langford back out on the floor? Great pass inside to Matthew Hurt. But it's been, what has it been, 600 days since he's played?
696.
Crazy.
And a foul committed by Jeremy Roach. And Watts will be at the free throw line.
There's Joey Hauser with the ball inside, gets into the middle, keeps 2 feet on the floor and makes a play off the floor. But instead of just a fadeaway jumper, use that left hand. You're not going to see many big guys able to make a move quite like that. And Hauser's not only a skilled player, can put the ball on the floor, he can shoot it, but he's really an excellent passer. Two of the top 5 or 6 transfers in the country eligible this year are from the same household. Joey Hauser, Michigan State, and then Sam Hauser, who transferred from Marquette also to Virginia.
These are storylines from the first half, tale of two halves. The advantage for Duke was at the free throw line. They outscored Michigan State by 10 at the line.
Michigan State was able to shut the free throw line off the second half of that first half, and you can see Jalen Johnson attacking off the dribble and picking up the foul. And Duke's got to look to balance that offense instead of just taking jump shots. Put the ball on the deck and get into the paint where they can not only get to the rim for higher percentage shots and then maybe kick it out, but they can put some more fouls on Michigan State.
And just put one on Kithier, and that is his third. He played in only 3 minutes of the first half due to the foul difficulty. And Johnson missed the first of 2 free throws. Kithier goes out, and Malik Hall quickly off the bench again.
Guarding Jalen Johnson is a tough matchup for anybody, but it's especially tough for Kithier. He's more used to guarding down in the post than having to guard a skilled 3 that can face you up and take you to the basket.
Strong down the lane. Rocket Watts, the lay-in. Rocket, not a misnomer. Blaine Stevens, longtime assistant who took over for Tom Izzo when he was battling COVID over the last couple of weeks, says that Watts is as fast from one end of the court to the other as anybody he's been around. And now another Duke turnover, and numbers on the break for the Spartans. And Watts again. And Michigan State is pulling away. Down by 10 in the first half. They're up by 12, and a timeout called by Mike Krzyzewski.
Well, rough sequence for Jalen Johnson, the freshman. Didn't have any idea where the ball was. Wasn't seeing man and ball on the last possession. And Michigan State able to get all the way to the rim. Just wound up watching the action. Then Rocket Watts just rockets right past Johnson. Gets to the basket. That's too easy.
Beat Northwestern. Of course, the Buckeyes have their sights set on playing in their 4th straight Big Ten championship game with 2 more wins.
And Sean, this is what Young looks like. Jalen Johnson, number 1, not seeing the ball, and Rocket Watts goes right past him. Then on the offensive end, tries to find an open Matthew Hurt, and Matthew Hurt looked like he was open, but Aaron Henry was behind him. The turnover led to a run out. And 4 quick points for Rocket Watts and Michigan State. And that's just a function of being a young player in Michigan State with their experience taking advantage of it.
Jalen Johnson, who's really cooled off after a quick start. It's really true of the entire Duke team. In transition, Henry's floater wouldn't go. Kept alive, though, by Malik Hall. Hauser short with the turnaround right hand, and Hurt the rebound for Duke.
Duke right now has been settling for jump shots instead of trying to get the ball to the rim.
Hurt, strong drive on Hall, who held his ground well, though, and made it a contested shot. Hauser wide open for 3.
What a nice pass by Aaron Henry. Matthew Hurt went down. It was 5-on-4, and Michigan State made Duke pay in transition.
8 points for Hauser after the 3.
Joey Hauser does a really good job of getting to the corner with his feet set, and Aaron Henry found him with a pass right in his shooting pocket. And Hauser had done everything the first 2 games for Michigan State well, except he hadn't shot the 3. He was 0 for 6, I believe, coming into this game, and he's knocked down a couple from that corner.
Last foul was on Rocket Watts, his second, team second. And Hauser sat out all of last year as a transfer from Marquette. Started 31 games as a freshman there. Averaged 10 points a game. Made 45 threes. Michigan State on a 7-0 run. They led for just 2 minutes and 6 seconds of the first half. They are pulling away as the 3 rattles out from Wendell Moore.
Boy, this depth of Michigan State gives Tom Izzo so many options. I mean, Kithier and Bingham have not been at their best in this game, but you bring in Marble and Hall, you have so many different combinations.
Nice defense by Joey Baker, looking for help as he was falling out of bounds, and he found it in Jalen Johnson. 9 Spartan turnovers now, but that number is slowed down.
Right now, where does Duke go for offense?
It's the second time tonight Moore has dribbled one off his foot for a turnover. Watts missed the 3. Here comes Johnson showing off that ball handling skills at 6'9". Good hands by Henry, poked it free from Hurt.
What a great defensive sequence by Aaron Henry. That was fantastic defense on Matthew Hurt.
Well, no fans, but when you're Mrs. K, Mickey Krzyzewski, you're allowed in. Well, tonight's Hoop Scoop focuses on the Hauser brothers. Joey and Sam were teammates at Marquette. Each decided to transfer and sat out last year. Sam made an immediate impact at Virginia with his scoring ability, and Joey's done the same here at Michigan State.
Well, Sam probably a little bit better of a long-range shooter. But boy, does he have a quick trigger. He can score in a hurry. And Joey Hauser a little more versatile. His passing ability, he's really the answer for Michigan State at the 4 position.
Duke 1 for 7 shooting in this half. Down by 15 with under 15 to go. They remain cold. Good tap out by Brakefield. It didn't matter as Hurt missed a 3.
A lot of perimeter jump shots for Duke. They haven't been able to knock any down, and they've been taken by good shooters. It's not like they're having guys that shouldn't be shooting take those shots.
They are 1 for 14 from 3. Last year in their win in East Lansing, they were 7 for 15. Timeout given to Joey Baker before the Spartans could tie it up.
Well, Joey Baker's made some good hustle plays in this game. He was first to the floor, wound up getting possession of the ball, and that's a little bit more energy and life shown by this young Duke team after that play.
A much different story on offense last year up in East Lansing when Duke scored the highest point total of the year against Michigan State. 87 points. That team in East Lansing had Cassius Winston and Xavier Tillman. They were happy that Henry pulled out of the draft and came back, and thrilled that Joshua Langford could come back after missing a season and a half with that foot injury. And Joey Hauser eligible now for Tom Izzo. Hard to believe now, 65 years old. Remember when he was a young assistant taking over for his mentor Judd Heathcote. They're the only 2 head coaches at Michigan State in the last 45 years.
And Izzo's done a remarkable job. What a nice up and under move by Brakefield. Left-hander can shoot it, but put it on the floor on that possession, and that was a beautiful finish.
Even without Winston and Tillman, as you saw, 53% of the points back. They have 7 players who started games last year.
Now, Sean, that is an up and under move. That's what it's got. A lot of guys will say up and under when somebody double clutches and goes from one side of the bucket to another. That's an up and under move.
Under 14 minutes to go. Michigan State has never won here at Cameron, 0-3 all time. And a foul on the rebounding action. It's against Bingham, his first.
Well, Tom Izzo is as reactive as any coach in the country. You always know exactly what he's thinking. Although with the mask on, he said the other day that one of the good things about wearing a mask during the game is his mother can't tell what he's saying.
8 trips to the Final Four for the Spartans under Izzo in the last 22 years. That is the most by any program during that span. It's 2-13 against Duke. And there's no shame in that. There's a lot of people who were on the wrong side of the ledger against the Blue Devils over the years.
Izzo kind of made that point. He said it's no secret that his record against Duke isn't that great, but he points out, he says, but they have been pretty good. Some of the teams we played against have been pretty good. But they've also played
games between the two of them have been at neutral sites, whether it's been in the Champions Classic, which started 10 years ago, or in the NCAA tournament. Air ball fired by Watts, but rescued nicely by Malik Hall.
Yeah, Watts got a switch. He had Matthew Hurt on him, shot over the bigger player, but Hall gets him an extra possession.
And he is fouled on the arm with the shot clock expiring. Joey Baker called for his third foul.
How good has Malik Hall been in this game for Michigan State?
Is that a rhetorical question, or would you like me to say
I would not like you to respond.
I'm just trying to make sure I have the right definition of an up or under move. And I'm going to send that out to the rest of the college basketball world so they know what it is. Kansas and Kentucky coming up next. Some angst with the Kentucky's loss to Richmond, which included 21 turnovers. Should their adoring fans be worried? Or, they lost to Evansville at the beginning of last season. Evansville isn't as good as Richmond, not even close.
Yeah, Richmond's a really good basketball team, so it is not that big of a deal, if you will. I loved John Calipari's press conference before when he had talked about Kentucky fans don't be mad at the players and all that stuff, be mad at him. But Kentucky fans want to play the best schedule and win.
Right.
They want both. Reasonableness is not for fans. They're not interested in being reasonable.
Brakefield has had a nice night. 8 points in his second college game after just 1 point in 4 minutes against Coppin State. 12 and a half to go here at Cameron Indoor Stadium.
Well, Joey Hauser just had a great block out on that last possession. And Michigan State, the last 10 minutes of the first half and into the second half have been so much tougher defensively. They've been tougher in running their offense.
They read your book at the half.
Yeah, exactly.
Toughness.
That's good of them to do that. But, they stopped turning the ball over because they were stronger with the ball. They stopped fouling because they were stronger on defense. And once they stopped doing that, and Duke had to play 5-on-5 against them in the half court, now all of a sudden Michigan State's experience and talent and their defense and rebounding are taking over.
Hauser makes the first free throw. The foul on Jeremy Roach, his third in 19 minutes of action tonight. Hall to the Spartan bench. One out of two for Hauser. This is the largest lead for Michigan State. 16 points, approaching 12 minutes to go.
You can hear the talk is so much better for Michigan State than it was early in the first half.
Goldwire three. He comes immediately to bring pressure. His first points of the night for Jordan Goldwire, senior from Norcross, Georgia. The only other senior is the former walk-on Mike Buckmeyer, doesn't play very much. Lawyer badgered by Goldwire. Gabe Brown way off with a quick shot. Didn't graze any rim, so they're down to 5. And Hauser stumbling, nearly turned it over. It'll be 3 seconds to shoot for the Spartans after the media timeout. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is.
Okay, game 2 here in Indianapolis will be between two of the most winning programs in college basketball history, Kansas and Kentucky. I can't wait to get my eyes on Brandon Boston Jr. for the Wildcats. He was on that very famous Sierra Canyon High School team with LeBron James' son and Dwayne Wade's son. We'll get our first look at him for the Wildcats tonight. And Kansas, Ochai Agbaji said this will be their first game without any fans in the stands. It'll be an unusual atmosphere, but he said we have to talk. The bench has to bring the energy. We'll see you later tonight.
All right, Holly, we look forward to that. She'll be joined by Dan Schulman and Dick Vitale These 4 blue bloods of college basketball doing this for the 10th year in a row. Duke, the winningest team in the Champions Classic, they're 6-3. And the Spartans 3-6 have the worst record, but they're poised for victory tonight if they can protect this 13-point lead with 11.5 minutes to go.
Tom Izzo brought Rocket Watts back into the ball game.
They need to get a quick shot up. Had just 3 seconds out of the timeout. Jalen Johnson trying to reestablish himself. He went underneath and laid it in, and he has 8.
Well, Johnson pushed the ball up the floor when he got it to Stewart. Immediate drive, and he wound up getting it back.
Offensive foul called as Watts went crashing into Jalen Johnson. 3 fouls on Rocket Watts.
They just wound up speeding up Rocket Watts. The long drive from outside the 3-point line, and then instead of coming to a jump stop and putting up a little soft jumper off the glass, he wound up charging into Jalen Johnson. That's just too long of a drive without expecting the weak side help to come over.
DJ Stewart scored 24 in the opener against Coppin State, the most ever by a Duke freshman in his debut off the bench. They tried to go for the lob. It was way off the mark, but Watts has it back. Aaron Henry drove on Matthew Hurt, and a foul for a hand check on Hurt. His second foul. Well, there are the numbers from the game against the Eagles of Coppin State. 19 points, 19 rebounds. Didn't miss a shot. He was 8 for 8 from the floor. And he also made both of his free throws. He was the first Blue Devil ever with a stat line of 19 plus points and rebounds with 5 or more assists and 4 or more block shots. That's not in a debut. That's in any game ever. And he did it in his first game. Marble at the rim looked like he tipped it in. And he has 10. One shy of his career high set against Charleston Southern last year.
And those numbers you were talking about with Jalen Johnson, I think the only other Division I player to put up numbers like that was Ethan Happ.
The last 10 years.
Yeah, in the last 10 years. That's really stunning.
To have 19, 19, 5, and 4 or more. He did it in his first game against a pesky Coppin State team that hung in there, lost only by 10, 81-71. So back-to-back double-figure scoring games now for Johnson, as he has scored 10 with that bucket. A little more energy now on the Duke bench, including from the assistant coaches.
They're trying to bring more full court pressure, so the assistants were trying to tell everybody, hey, get up. We want to make it tougher for Michigan State not only to inbound it, but get it up the floor.
Henry off to Marble for the dunk. What a night for Julius Marble, who played only 3 minutes in each of their first 2 games this season. He has a career-high 12.
Well, he has been strong and aggressive in every facet of the game on both ends of the floor.
Tom Izzo said he'll play more as the season goes along. Tough pass by Roach. Duke fortunate to get it back, and then Henry called for the foul as he went up to contest Hurt, and that's the second foul on Henry, and the team's 5th.
A really nice pass by Aaron Henry in transition, but that is a big-time finish. You know, and when you say an Andre Hudson type player, a lot of Michigan State fans are probably going, hey, he's a long way from Andre. That's what I'm talking about. Like, this guy has a lot of potential to do this all the time.
And Tom Izzo said he wants to go deeper as the season goes along, in part out of necessity. He just believes with COVID raging out of control all over the place, you know, you're going to need a deep team. You don't know who you might lose as the season goes along, so the bench players better be ready to go when it's their time.
Yeah, he mentioned he didn't want to be in the same position as the Denver Broncos where you don't have a quarterback. And but you know, that's a good, you know, strategy to have with COVID, but it's also, I think, good to have a team where everybody knows, hey, I can play a big role in tonight's game.
Double-double for Hurt, 14 and 10. Second of his career. He went for 16 and 10 against Virginia Tech last year. We're under 9 minutes to go. Spartans up by 11.
And pick your dribble up.
Largest Michigan State lead was 16. Here comes Duke trying to get it to single digits. Johnson couldn't get it up, rather Moore couldn't get it up on the rim. As it goes to the arrow, it'll stick with Duke.
Julius Marble trying to keep everybody engaged.
I guess so.
A lot longer to give daps in the age of COVID. You got to get around to the side of the court.
Yeah, it's his night. He can do whatever he wants. You're supposed to come to the bench to take a breather. That's a lot of walking you have to do to stroll among your teammates and coaches.
Nice job defensively by Gabe Brown to stay in front there of Jordan Goldwire on that drive.
5 to shoot for the Blue Devils. Moore traveled, well guarded by Hauser. And that's the 10th turnover committed by Duke.
Hauser just did a good job of keeping in front and angling. He couldn't stop the drive, but what he could do was angle Wendell Moore more toward the sideline than the baseline. Now, it's not like he's going to jump in front and take a charge here, but see how he angles him away from the basket, wound up making him travel. That was just a really good job of playing good defense without fouling, and that's not what Hauser did early on in the game, first 5 minutes, and that's not what his teammates did either. Looked like they got an offensive foul on Aaron Henry there.
Yes, they did. His 3rd foul. 6 team fouls, so the next one will put the Spartans over the limit. Duke's at 5 team fouls.
There's still a long way to go in this game. And just an 11-point margin here.
Henry goes out.
What a move.
Out of bounds, deflected out by Hauser. You see Henry and Izzo still talking. Tom Izzo said, when Aaron Henry said, okay, I'm going to take my name out of the draft and come back to school, he said, okay, but you need to be all in. And he talked to some other Spartans who had made that decision. And Henry certainly seemed to be all in, both in the preseason and in these first 3 games. Roach missed the left-handed scoop, and it's yanked down by Malik Hall.
A nice job there by Rocket Watts to force him to his left, and then also to force the finish without fouling.
Goldwire. The steal and the lay-in, and that won't surprise Tom Izzo. Talked about what a pest Goldwire has been against his team the last couple of meetings. 13 Michigan State turnovers now. Duke has it back to a single-digit deficit with 7.5 to go. Beautiful drive. Watts showing that rocket speed again.
And showing strength. He looked like a running back going for a first down. Wasn't going to let anybody take the ball away from him.
He knew they needed a point guard with Cassius Winston gone to the NBA. Goldwire, nice move again. Watts didn't really want to be a point guard, but he said his dad and Tom Izzo told him, well, you're not going to be a 2-guard in the NBA. If you want to play at the next level, you're going to be a point guard. You're not going to be a 6'2" shooting guard. Joshua Langford had it blocked by Jalen Johnson. Still 10 to shoot for Michigan State. Tough shot. Watts made it.
He has got so much ability. And that's the balance. Like when he gets downhill, he is a tough to handle. When he settles for jumpers, that's when he's not quite as good. But he's got a balance running the team with scoring. It's something he can do because he's a smart player.
17 points. Hurt, couldn't score from close range.
That was a nice pass by Johnson. He has got a ton of ability as a passer. Hey, look at Aaron Henry coaching the team over there.
Well, Tom Izzo has said the best coach teams are the ones that are coached by the players. Foul called on the rebounding action against Duke. I believe it's on Jalen Johnson.
Henry was even sitting in the coach's seat on this one. Look, he's sitting in Coach Izzo's seat. That could come with repercussions.
Monster Arena as the Wildcats try to avoid slipping to 1-2. Kansas also even up 1-1. See you in a bit, guys.
All right, Reese, thank you. Tom Izzo with assistant coach Aaron Henry actively involved even before the timeout.
Not only took his chair, but now he's kind of taken his job.
Of course, Coach Izzo tested positive for COVID, isolated in his basement for 12 days. Told Seth Greenberg on our air earlier today, I have a really nice basement, as you know, but even I was ready to get out of the basement after 12 days. But Dwayne Stevens, associate head coach, did a great job. Mike Garland and Dane Fife, but the players have also provided a lot of leadership from within. Henry back on the floor, had it pop out. Oh boy, Goldwire just threw it right back to Henry.
Great anticipation by Aaron Henry, and Jordan Goldwire has done so many good things in this second half. Just a mental mistake to give that ball up there, and after how hard Duke worked to get it. Boy, Henry is among the best defenders in the country.
Izzo believes he can be even better. He has 12 points tonight. Averaged 10 per game last year, was the third leading scorer for the Spartans last season. Hauser just called for his third foul. And Sparty over the limit.
You know, the strength of this Michigan State team, their depth, I think they're excellent defensively because they've got so many different guys that can guard multiple positions. So they can play smaller lineups and not get hurt too bad by bigger teams. And then this is an excellent passing team, just excellent.
Matthew Hurt up to 15 points. As we noted earlier, he has a double-double. And they'll bring some pressure in the backcourt again.
So 2-2-1 three-quarter court press.
Henry looks to attack. Goes right at Hurt, who held his ground and defended nicely. Duke ball down 11, under 5 minutes to go. Joey Baker a three, an air ball. No surprise, Michigan State the edge. They've been one of the best rebounding teams in the country year after year under Tom Izzo. Plus 7.5 rebounding margin last year.
Every time a shot goes up, they put a body on somebody. I mean, they hit you every time a shot goes up. Izzo calls it hit, find, and fetch. So the shot goes up. They're not just going to turn and block out. They're going to make contact with you. Then they're going to turn and find the ball and then go after it. I mean, they really pursue the basketball at every position, and all 5 guys rebound on the defensive end.
Joey Baker is fouled out now for Duke, and both teams are over the limit here in the second half.
You know, that's one of the things about rebounding, Sean. Coaches decide how many guys they're going to send to the offensive glass. Izzo sends 3, some guys send 2. But everybody has to rebound on the defensive end, and Michigan State does that every time. Their guards go to the glass every defensive possession.
Can I go back to the last shot by Johnson? Now, was that an up and under? A little scoop shot he just fired up.
No, an up and under is a specific move that's made usually in the post by a big guy.
Can you put, the next time you do one of your online articles, the Illustrator, it's on ESPN.com. Maybe you could do your definitions of things relative to what the rest of the world.
It's not the rest of the world. The rest of the world in basketball knows what an up and under move is, but somehow it has morphed into like a double clutch when you go from one side, like on a layup. Just because you go under the basket doesn't mean it's an up and under move.
You don't have to go under the basket, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. That is not an up and under move. You've gone under the basket, but it's not an up and under move. Does that make sense?
But you can have an up and under without being under the basket.
Right. Exactly.
So what's the under part then in your world?
You give an up fake, and then you go underneath the defender.
I see. All right.
You know, we used to do it. Kevin McHale had maybe the best up and under move ever.
The greatest. All right, so this goes back to what you were saying earlier.
Up, under. That's an up and under move.
All right. We have a consensus. We have a quorum. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. It's become a great early season tradition, the Champions Classic. These same 4 teams every year. They play each other once every 3 years. Here's the Wendy's Wooden Watch. Joey Hauser, Michigan State. Matthew Hurt. Jalen Johnson of Duke, all on the top 50 preseason list for the Wooden Award. For more, go to ESPN.com and search Wooden. Do you have a preseason favorite? Do you think there is a best player of the country starting the year?
I do. I think it's Luka Garza of Iowa. I'd be surprised if he doesn't win it this year. I mean, obviously there's a long way to go. But when you have 36 points in the first half of your first game, you're off to a pretty good start.
They're up to number 3 in the rankings.
And rightfully so. They are far more than Luka Garza. I mean, they've got an outstanding team. I mean, Joe Wieskamp's a terrific player. Frederick and McCaffrey, they're legit. And the Big Ten, I think, is the best conference in the country.
I saw one preseason poll that had Michigan State 4th. There's Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin picked ahead of them.
And that's fair. I think that's absolutely fair.
I mean, all 4 could be among the top 10 teams in the country, don't you think?
I think they will be. They are right now.
18 points for Hurt. He's had a good night. A lot of his teammates have not.
And Wisconsin's another really experienced team that's just excellent. I mean,
they're going to count that bucket for Aaron Henry. Goldwire tried to stand in and take the charge, but he gets called for the block. A chance for a 3-point play for Henry after the second foul on Goldwire.
I think the call was fantastic because Goldwire was just trying to slide in and get the charge. And there's no way he was there. But Aaron Henry, the way he has driven the ball in this game and been more aggressive attacking off the dribble, that's really good news for Michigan State. You know, talking about Wisconsin's a little like Michigan State with their experience level, except I think they're more experienced. They're like a bunch of ex-pros, ex-European pros that play at the Y that just crush you at lunchtime.
You had way too much free time on your hand in the offseason, apparently.
I'm painting a wonderful mental picture for you.
Yes. Leave the painting to your wife, Wendy, who's a wonderful artist and a very patient woman.
I knew that was coming.
And a saint.
Her hearing impairment has really helped our relationship.
2 minutes to go. Michigan State by 13. Wendell Moore, he's had an awful night shooting it. Hasn't made a field goal. And Brakefield is there.
Brakefield's had some good moments in this game.
Yeah, he's had 10 points tonight in his second college game. Wasn't a McDonald's All-American, but he was selected to play in the Jordan Brand All-Star Classic. Hauser called for his 4th foul there.
Yeah, Brakefield's a good shooter. Lefty is a good shooter, but also a good rebounder.
And number 29, player in the ESPN Top 100 in high school last year. Today's Giving Tuesday. As you know, it's a global day of giving. It's also the launch of ESPN's V Week. If you're able, please give now at v.org/donate. v.org/donate. 100% of what you give goes to cancer research. I didn't know that until I'd heard them say that before, and I'm like, well, how is that possible? I went to Robin Roberts' Jimmy V fundraiser last year in New York in December, and there are people who endow all the money to pay for the staff at the V Foundation so that everything people give goes directly to the cancer research.
It's really remarkable what the V Foundation does, and it gives you incredible peace of mind that when you give money, you know that all of it is going to the cause you're supporting. And I mean, it's remarkable, Sean, over the last several years, how many people that we've all heard say, but for the V Foundation, I would not be here now. I mean, it's so moving what's been accomplished over the years by the V Foundation. Just incredible.
So Hauser is just fouled out, and this one's still close enough to be anxiety-inducing for Tom Izzo and Spartan fans everywhere. Tomorrow on ESPN and the app, the 26th annual Jimmy V Classic, highlighted by 4 top 15 teams, including the #1 team in the country, Gonzaga, against number 11 West Virginia. That's at 7 Eastern, followed by 5th-ranked Illinois and number 2 Baylor, both games from Indianapolis. So Hauser fouls out with another double-double, his second in 3 games for Michigan State. He had 11 points and 10 rebounds in 23 minutes.
Yeah, and that was with being limited in playing time because of foul trouble. He is one productive player. He got a little bit of a break when he fouled out. Usually the Cameron Crazies do that thing where they say see ya. There's no see ya in this one. A lot of things different.
So Baker's fouled out for Duke. Hauser for Michigan State. Starting to scramble in their half-court defense, trying to turn over the Spartans, and good ball handling here by Foster Lawyer. And they foul him. And they want to get the ball in his hands. He is a 92% career free throw shooter. Doesn't get there a lot. He's mostly a perimeter shooter, but 35 out of 38 as a Spartan from the line. With a junior from Clarkston, Michigan, where he played on 2 state championship teams for legendary coach Dan Fife. He was the dad of Dane Fife on this Michigan State staff, and Dugan Fife, who was a terrific player at Michigan. Jeremy played at Grand Valley State. Coach Fife, the high school coach, 703 wins, 3rd all time in Michigan high school history. I talked to Dugan Fife today. He said Foster Lawyer didn't miss for those 2 years where they were the state champions. He made everything from the line and the field, and there's the announcer, Jenks.
Well, he did a great job in this game. He didn't get posted. Just took the charge there, getting his chest in front of Jordan Goldwire, but Notre Dame posted him and was able to get him out of the game. But in this game, he really fought. When they tried to post him, he really fought, got him much better from last game to this. I think Dane Fife actually went to him and said, come on, man, you played for my dad. You know how to play post defense.
His dad won more than 80% of his games. Offensive foul called by James Breeding on Goldwire. The Duke bench didn't like it. They were pointing at Pat Driscoll. They thought he had another call from under the basket, but he told them he did not. They give it to Lawyer again. And again, he's going to try to make them foul him. Well, a lot of talk in the preseason who will be at point guard. It looks like it's going to be Watts so far through 3 games as the primary point guard, with Lawyer as his backup. Wow.
Well, Foster Lawyer, one of the best attributes he has as a point guard is the ball moves when he's in there. And he's not as athletic, obviously, as Watts, but they have a number of guys that can initiate offense. Yeah, Aaron Henry can play the point. He's not a natural point guard, but he can initiate offense out front, handle the ball. But they just don't have the same kind of natural point guard where you want the ball in his hands all the time as they've had last year and in prior years. Just be a different kind of team that way. Boy, the positives of this Michigan State team, they're going to keep getting better, man.
A 3 by Roach, but it's probably too little too late for Duke, down by 8. 5 points for the freshman Jeremy Roach, who had 6 in the opener against Coppin State. 8-point game, 36.3 to go, and it's time for our assist of the game, brought to you by State Farm.
Well, getting the ball down court, that great pass and finish by Malik Hall. It's a beautiful pass by Rocket Watts, and that's where this Michigan State team could be so dangerous in transition. And Hall came in along with Julius Marble and really gave a huge lift to Michigan State, turned the tide. And Rocket Watts has also had some really good moments, scoring 17 points, just a shot under 50% at 7 for 16.
Averaged 9 a game last year, was on the All Big Ten freshman team. He'll have much more of a role this season, as we've discussed.
You know, Tom Izzo, as happy as he was with the way his team performed against Notre Dame, he wasn't happy with the way they finished the game. They had a huge lead, wound up only winning by 10. And I think he's going to feel a little bit the same in this one, that they're not finishing quite as strong down the stretch in this one.
Well, good to see Coach Izzo back and healthy. Not only one of the great coaches of all time, but one of the really great people as well. He couldn't figure out how he got COVID-19. He has been a very diligent mask wearer.
Well, he's one of the truly great guys in sports.
Yep. How about the respect from Coach K, too? He said he has one of the great programs, not just in college basketball, but in all of college athletics, and that's true.
Well, both of these guys are just great guys and have done remarkable things with their programs. And their longevity, the excellence they've both exhibited over such long periods of time is really what set them apart.
Trouble getting it in.
Boy, they gave him the timeout. That was close to 4. They're having a hard time getting the ball in. And Izzo is really upset with Rocket Watts right now.
"22 straight NCAA appearances for Tom Izzo, and you'd have to think the Spartans will be on their way again this year. It's never hard to figure out how he's feeling.
Yeah, he's not hard to read, but he is about as straightforward with his guys, and really he just wants them. They're getting pressured, and just get the ball in. Get the ball in, be strong with it, get fouled, or get it down the floor. But you don't want to catch it in that corner where you're going to get trapped right away, like Rocket Watts did last time. Had to throw it off of a Duke player to maintain possession.
Izzo enshrined in Basketball Hall of Fame in 2016. Same year that Jay Billis received the Kurt Gowdy Award from the Basketball Hall of Fame. Took his place among the media members, honored in Springfield. And deservedly so, my friend.
It was a down year for broadcasting.
That would have been the year to have the COVID thing, because then we wouldn't have had to go. Well, we would have gone for Tom Izzo.
Listen to that speech.
Yeah. Is the speech still going on? Or? Actually, I have to give you credit. They told you had, what, 2 minutes or 3 minutes?
Something like that, yeah.
Which you can't say hello in 3 minutes. But you probably were under 3 minutes. And in that time, you were touching and you were funny, as you always are. And you did a tremendous job. Unfortunately, not all of the speakers that night followed your lead. Tom Izzo did not speak that night. They had their own ceremony. But you were tremendous.
Well, that's kind of it. It was a fun night, and it was just fun to watch all those Hall of Famers and to watch Izzo and all of his high school and college friends, and to see so many people from the Upper Peninsula in Springfield, to watch him be enshrined in the Hall of Fame. And the humility he showed. One of the things about Izzo that I've always been impressed by is he's got extraordinary ability, but he's never changed the core of who he is. Mm-hmm. And he'll always say, well, we're not at the same level of a Duke or Kentucky or Kansas, and I differ with him there. There's not been many programs. I mean, I would put the last 20 years, it's Michigan State, Gonzaga, obviously Duke and North Carolina and Kansas and Kentucky, all those programs. But the other ones are Duke, Villanova, Michigan State, Villanova, and Gonzaga. Mm-hmm. Like, who's put up numbers like in Final Fours like Michigan State has?
Well, as we said,
period?
the last 22 years, 8 Final Fours for Michigan State, the most in the country.
Remarkable, just remarkable.
Oh, Hurt banks one in. This one isn't over yet. It's a 6-point game, and a travel called as Duke applied pressure in the backcourt. Johnson, the primary defender on Aaron Henry, and don't hang up the phone just yet.
And this is why Izzo was so upset. Just get the ball inbounds and get it in cleanly. Nice cut by Johnson. A terrific job cutting back to the ball and getting that pass and getting fouled. Now no time goes off the clock. Well, you've got the ability just to catch. You have to catch, face the defense, and then make a move. But it was catch, pivot, and walk.
Mm-hmm. And now 4 fouls on Henry. Jeremy Roach fouled out a moment ago for Duke. So Johnson has 11. 2 timeouts for the Spartans, and no timeouts for Duke. They put Lawyer back on the floor for his ball handling and free throw shooting ability. Big miss. Hall the rebound, and they foul him. The largest lead for Michigan State was 16 with 12:14 to go. It's down to 5. They're trying to get to the finish line. Malik Hall has had a very good night. 8 points and 10 rebounds.
He's got a nice stroke from the free throw line as well. He knocks this down, it becomes a 3-possession game. I think this is exactly what, and it's going to be a great learning experience for Michigan State, and this entire game will be a great learning experience for the young team that Mike Krzyzewski's got. But just finishing games.
Double-double for Malik Hall. Time running out on Duke. Hurts 3 wouldn't go, and a foul committed by Goldwire as Rocket Watts snatched the rebound. Four fouls on Goldwire. And that should put it away with 7 seconds to go, and Michigan State going back to the line with a 7-point lead. Double-double for Hall, by the way, the first of his career. He's a sophomore.
And Rocket Watts about to hit the 20-point mark if he can knock this down. I'm a big fan of his game. I think he's got a ton of ability.
He's a big fan of yours. He's read the book and reads your column regularly. His career high in points is 21. There's a 3. That won't make a difference.
A really good win for Michigan State to come into Cameron and walk away victorious.
First win ever for Michigan State here. And Tom Izzo and the Spartans wave their salute and respect. We said all week long, you can't get caught up in playing the aura of Duke and the aura of being in Cameron, even though it's going to be empty. And at the beginning of the game, it looked like that might have been the case, but they rebounded from a rough start very nicely, in large part because of this guy.
Yeah, Julius Marble came into the ballgame at 8 points in that first half, was just so strong. He and Malik Hall made a huge difference, and then Michigan State stopped turning the ball over. They stopped fouling, and they were much stronger with the ball, taking it to the basket. Julius Marble, an example of it right there. But Aaron Henry had a terrific game, especially toward the end of the first half into the second. Rocket Watts, Joey Hauser, really a team win for Michigan State.
Duke shot 56% in East Lansing last year. They were the only team all season long to shoot over 50% against Tom Izzo's team. Duke shot 32% tonight. Michigan State a winner now to Kansas and Kentucky. Here's Dan Shulman with Dick Vitale and Holly Rose. So long, everyone.
Sean, Jay, thank you very much.